Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Hello.
Today we're peeling back the layers of a place that, well, when you first step out of the train station, it just looks like pure, relentless 21st century Tokyo.
Right. All modern buildings, busy streets.
We are talking about Oimachi, a really critical commercial and transport hub over in Shinagawa Ward.
And we're diving in today because Oimachi, it's not just that modern hub. It's almost like an archaeological site hiding in plain sight, disguised as a modern city.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
The sources we've dug into, and we've got quite a stack ranging from, 10th century legal archives all the way up to modern geographical surveys, corporate histories.
A real mix.
A real mix, yeah. And they reveal that this area is just a masterclass in urban layering. History isn't just written down somewhere about Oimachi. It's literally stacked. One era built directly, physically on top of the last one.
So our mission today is to take you, our listeners, on a kind of walk through Oimachi's timeline.
Right down to the pavement level.
Exactly. And the core insight we pulled out is, well, it's genuinely pretty shocking.
It is.
One single, frankly unassuming street, the one leading east from the station, it acts as a physical timeline. It crosses basically every major period of Tokyo history.
All the way back to the 7th century.
I mean, think about that. A location that's been continuously relevant in different ways for over 1,300 years.
It's an extraordinary concentration of, Japanese historical development all packed into one neighborhood.
You look at the skyline now, you see these massive residential towers, huge retail places like Hankyu Garden, major rail lines cutting through.
Yeah.
But we're going to show you that just beneath all that concrete, the ancient bureaucratic highways of Imperial Japan.
Yeah, the really old stuff.
They intersect almost seamlessly with the, the booming industrial engines of the Meiji and Taisho eras, the factories that built modern Japan.
So if you want a really concise history of Japan's path to modernity, you can pretty much find it buried right there in Oimachi. It's kind of wild.
Okay, let's unpack this then. And we need to go way, way back first.
Right back.
When we talk about Oimachi's deepest roots, we're not even starting with the shogunate. We're skipping that entirely for now and diving into the period of centralized imperial rule.
Exactly. Way before Edo as we know it. Our earliest written confirmation of Oimachi's importance comes from the Engi Shiki.
Okay, and for listeners who might not know, the Engi Shiki wasn't just some, casual travel diary.
Oh, absolutely not. This was a massive 10th century compilation. Think legal codes, detailed procedures for imperial governance. It's heavyweight stuff.
So when Oimachi gets mentioned in that document...
It's significant. It lists it as a shikuki.
As shikuki.
Which confirms its established status as a major station on the Tokaido route 1,000 years ago.
Wow. So that designation, shikuki, it means it wasn't just, some random village along the way?
No. It was state mandated. An official west stop, a relay point.
Part of the infrastructure.
Precisely. It was part of the official infrastructure needed to run the ancient state. It had a formal role.
Now, the name itself, you mentioned the sources say it's a bit confusing.
It is, yeah. Historically, it's a bit fuzzy. The sources note the possibility it relates to the word for well.
Okay, like a water source.
Maybe. But then there's this charming local legend connected to the nearby Kufukuji Temple, which claims the name came from a specific well used for the birthing bath of a priest named Raishai back in 1201.
Okay, wait a second. If the name E is in the Engi Shiki in the 10th century, and this legend dates the well to 1201...
2 centuries later.
Then the legend, it can't be right chronologically, can it?
It can't, which is what makes local legends so interesting, right? Yeah. They often try to provide this neat human-scale story for a name whose actual origins are probably lost way back in time.
Gives it a nice narrative, even if it doesn't fit the dates.
Exactly. But putting the legend aside, Oimachi's medieval importance is definitely concrete. During the Kamakura period that followed, the local clan that emerged there, the Ushi clan.
Named after the place, presumably.
Right. They named the area Ushiga, which means shi, village, or district. And this happened after Minamoto no Sanetomo, the shogun, settled folks there.
So it kept its strategic value even when the political center shifted towards Kamakura.
It did. It shows that continuity. But now we need to talk about the real hidden history here, the thing that's literally buried.
The road itself.
The road. The paradox of the ancient Tokaido. Because when most people picture the Tokaido...
You think Hiroshi Prince, right? The Edo period road, maybe going along the coast through Shinagawa-juku further north.
Exactly. That's the Edo Tokaido. The ancient Tokaido is a completely different beast.
How so?
Well, for starters, it was built much earlier. Construction started way back in the 7th century.
7th century, wow.
Yeah. It was part of this huge national project called the Goki Shichidu system. The 5 provinces and 7 roads.
That sounds incredibly ambitious for the 7th century.
It was astonishingly ambitious. You could think of it conceptually like, say, the Roman road network. But this predates a lot of that kind of large-scale European organization.
Okay, so if it wasn't built for, like, merchants or local travel primarily, what was the main driver behind this massive infrastructure project?
Governance, pure and simple. This road system was the absolute circulatory backbone of the centralized imperial state based in Nara or Kyoto.
So keeping control.
Keeping control. Its primary job was ensuring swift, reliable contact between the capital Heijikfu, or later Heianshe, and all the provinces.
Right.
It was designed specifically for moving government officials, transmitting imperial orders, and, crucially...
Let me guess, taxes.
Bingo. The systematic transport of taxes, rice, silks, other goods back to the capital. That's what funded the whole imperial system.
And the most, well, mind-bending structural detail from the sources is its sheer scale and how it was laid out right through what's now dense, modern Oimachi.
Absolutely. Archaeological surveys have actually confirmed this. This ancient road, built over 1,300 years ago, was about 12 to 13 meters wide.
12 to 13 meters. That's huge.
It's huge. Think about it. That's roughly the width of a modern 4-lane city street.
Built in the 7th or 8th century.
Cutting straight across the landscape. And that's another key point. It wasn't a winding country path following the easiest terrain.
No.
No, it was built intentionally straight, like ruler straight where possible, connecting the regional administrative offices in a direct line.
Why the obsession with straightness? Wouldn't that be harder to build, ignoring hills and valleys?
It probably was harder, yeah. But it symbolized imperial authority, state control over the landscape itself.
A statement.
It was a statement. It wasn't meant to be, comfortable for the horses necessarily. It was meant to be efficient for the bureaucracy and to project power.
And the surveys found even more detail. Right, about the construction itself.
They did. They found evidence of built-in side ditches called soku.
For drainage.
Partly drainage, yes, to keep the road surface usable. But they also served an administrative purpose.
Really?
They helped confirm the exact standardized width of the road. Think of them like boundary markers. And they also apparently helped segment the construction work.
Wow.
It shows an incredibly meticulous level of planning, likely borrowing techniques used in building the capital cities themselves.
That's amazing detail. And the destination is also really telling, isn't it?
Yeah.
If this was the main imperial highway, it wasn't aiming for Tokyo.
Because Tokyo or Edo didn't really exist yet in that powerful sense.
No.
The original terminus of this ancient Tokaido was actually Ishioka in what's now Ibaraki Prefecture.
Okay, Hitachi province back then.
Right. And later, it was extended even further north up to Taga Castle in Mutsunukuni, near modern Sendai.
So Oimachi was just a key stop, a logistical link on this imperial highway connecting the capital to the far northern frontiers of the empire.
Exactly. A vital node in that network.
And that whole system, the speed, it relied on the relay system, right? The Ekiden.
The ancient Ekiden system, yeah. It was absolutely integral. It's how they ensured messages and officials could travel at, frankly, astonishing speed for the pre-modern era.
How'd it work?
Well, these stations, the shukuki, like the one at Oimachi, were placed roughly every 16 kilometers or so along the route.
Pretty regularly spaced.
Very regularly. And these stations maintained fresh horses called ekipa. So imperial officials could arrive, swap their tired horse for a fresh one, maybe rest briefly, and then continue their journey without significant delay.
A pre-modern Pony Express, essentially.
That's a good analogy, yeah. It's how a centralized state managed to maintain control and cohesion across really vast distances.
Okay, so we had this massive, straight, state-controlled highway, 12 meters wide, running directly through the Oimachi area. But then history marches on.
It always does.
The political power center shifts east with the rise of the Kamakura shogunate in the medieval period. So the road system had to adapt, right?
It absolutely had to. And that's what our sources call the medieval shift. When the shogunate set up shop in Kamakura, the primary importance of that old, straight, ancient Tokaido started to fade a bit.
And new routes emerged.
New routes emerged, or existing paths became much more important. This is where the Kamakura Kaido, or Kamakura-machi, the Kamakura Road, comes in.
And it's crucial you said that it wasn't called the Tokaido anymore, coming from Kamakura.
Right. The sources are pretty clear. The route from Kamakura heading outwards, that specific network, became known as the Kamakura Kaido. The Tokaido name persisted elsewhere, but this was the road to the new power center.
We often hear about multiple Kamakura roads, though. Was it just one path, or...?
No, it seems to have been more of a network, and that makes sense because it wasn't just about the shogun traveling. It was driven by political necessity and, importantly, samurai duty.
The warriors.
Exactly. While the ancient road was primarily for imperial administrators and tax collectors, these new Kamakura roads were the central routes for samurai traveling to Kamakura.
Why were they traveling there so much?
For mandatory duties. Things like guarding the shogun's palace, fulfilling administrative roles for the bakufu, not just heading off to war. It was constant traffic.
And the sources pinpoint one of these Kamakura paths near Oimachi.
They do. One of the key routes seems to have run parallel, but slightly east of where the buried ancient Tokaido lies, following the path of what is now Aikagami Street.
So the center of political gravity literally moved a bit east, and the main road followed the power.
That's a perfect way to summarize it. The roads followed the power.
It's just incredible to picture all these layers of movement. Imperial governors on horseback, tax carriers with their goods, then later, mounted samurai heading to Kamakura, all happening on the same patch of ground over centuries.
Right. And the history goes even deeper than the roads. Literally deeper.
You mean archaeology?
We have to touch on the physical, prehistoric stuff found here. The story of the Mori Shell Mound is just a fabulous anecdote about, well, rediscovery in scientific history.
This is the famous one, right? Considered the birthplace of Japanese archaeology.
That's the one. Discovered by the American zoologist Edward Morse back in 1877, Meiji 10. He spotted it from a train window.
Amazing. But then, didn't the location get lost somehow? Which sound unbelievable for such an important find.
It sounds unbelievable, but it happened. Lost and disputed. After Morse's initial reports, the exact location became ambiguous.
Ow.
Well, records weren't perfect, landmarks change, and for decades there was actually a rivalry between Oda Ward and Shinagawa Ward.
Seriously, over a shell mound?
Seriously. Both wards put up monuments claiming they had the authentic historical spot. It became a point of local pride and confusion.
So how was it finally settled?
It wasn't really settled definitively until crucial excavations in 1984.
What triggered those?
It was linked to the privatization of the National Railways, JNR, and the redevelopment of railway land right in that area.
Development uncovered history again.
Exactly, and those digs turned up strong evidence suggesting that Morse's original site was, in fact, most likely located within the borders of Shinagawa Ward, in the Oimachi area.
Wow. So the city basically had to re-excavate itself to authenticate its own archaeological identity.
Pretty much. It's a wonderful little encapsulation of Oimachi. History, always lying just beneath the surface, sometimes disputed, waiting for the next shovel turn to confirm it.
That really is the theme, isn't it?
And that confirmation goes even deeper in time. Further excavations, also in the 1980s, this time near the Sendai-zaka tunnel, they uncovered remains from the Jomon period, the really ancient hunter-gatherer era, and also from the Kofun period.
Kofun means the burial mounds, right?
Exactly. The large keyhole-shaped or round burial mounds of the ruling elite from, say, the 3rd to 7th centuries AD.
And they found some near Oimachi.
They identified 2 Kofun in the area, and what's really evocative, what brings that ancient world into sharp focus, is that the sources raise this provocative idea based on their location relative to the old coastline. That these 2 burial mounds might have been deliberately aligned, positioned so they would be clearly visible from the sea.
Visible from the sea, like a landmark for ships.
Or a statement. Imagine arriving by boat thousands of years ago and seeing these massive burial mounds of the local rulers dominating the view from the water.
That changes the whole picture. It's not just random relics. It's potentially a deliberate display of power and presence by ancient elites facing the ocean.
Exactly. It adds a whole layer of intention to the landscape.
So from Jomon settlements near the ancient shore, through this colossal 7th century imperial highway, then the medieval samurai routes, and these possibly coast-facing tombs, all concentrated right here.
It sets the perfect, really dense stage for Oimachi's next huge transformation.
Which is?
Becoming the workshop of modern Japan, the industrial engine.
Okay, shifting gears dramatically now. from ancient footpaths, shell mounds, and horses,
Right.
to steel, steam, electricity factories. Part 2 is all about how Oimachi became this industrial powerhouse, literally churning out the goods and the technology that defined modern Japan from Meiji onwards.
Yeah. The sources map this out beautifully. Oimachi Village, which later became Oimachi Town, it industrialized incredibly quickly, starting in the late Meiji era.
What was the key factor there? Why Oimachi?
Geography played a big part. There's a plateau area that runs parallel to the new railway line, what would become the JR Tokaido line.
Ah, flat land next to the railway.
Yeah.
Prime industrial real estate.
Exactly. Perfect for building factories with easy transport access. And while some nearby areas also industrialized, Shinagawa, Shinagawa had places like Nippon Paint. Oimachi really became the epicenter for heavy manufacturing and new technologies.
And the initial spark, the very first big catalyst that ignited Oimachi's modern urban development, was something maybe a bit unexpected for heavy industry.
It was wool.
Wool, like textiles.
Exactly. The wool empire, you could call it.
Yeah.
It began with this real pioneering spirit, a guy named Guchu Shosaku.
Okay.
In 1880, Meiji 13, he founded Japan's first private wool spinning factory, Guchukyori Setsucho.
The first one. That's significant.
Hugely significant. This was bringing modern textile technology, wool spinning, into the private sector. Then, the pivotal moment for Oimachi comes in 1892, Meiji 25.
What happened?
Guchu made the crucial decision to move his entire operation to Oimachi Village.
That's the move.
That's the move. Specifically to land just east of the official railway line, right about where the current Oimachi Station East exit is today.
And that single relocation decision.
It triggered Oimachi's rapid urban growth. It basically set the template for the industrial Oimachi that followed. It defined its future trajectory.
That's fascinating. One company's move shapes a whole district. But this particular plot of land, Guchu's factory site, it then became this dizzying historical corporate merry-go-round, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's a textbook case study in industrial consolidation and how capital flowed in the Meiji and Taisho eras.
So what happened to Guchu's original factory?
Well, it didn't stay independent for long. In 1903, just over a decade after moving, it was acquired by the massive Mitsui Zaibatsu.
Mitsui. Okay, we hear that term Zaibatsu a lot. For our listeners, what did it mean for a company like Guchu's, even a pioneering one, to be bought by Mitsui back then?
It meant Oimachi wasn't just a factory town anymore. Its strategic industrial importance was immediately recognized by one of Japan's largest, most powerful family-controlled financial and industrial conglomerates.
These were the giants.
They were the absolute giants, the engines of Japan's modernization. So Mitsui buying Guchu's factory shows that within about 10 years of that first move, Oimachi was already seen as a critical industrial node, a valuable asset in the portfolio of one of the nation's biggest economic forces.
What happened after Mitsui took over?
They renamed it Tokyo Seiji in 1909, and then it eventually became Nihon Kyuri by 1912, so it got absorbed into that larger corporate structure.
But Guchu Shosaku, the founder, he didn't just, retire after selling his first company to a behemoth like Mitsui.
Not at all. This guy had serious entrepreneurial spirit. After the sale, he immediately turned around and reestablished a new factory.
Where?
This time, he set up west of the official railway line. The company was initially called Shimada Kyori.
Okay, so he's competing with his old site, essentially.
In a way, yeah. And the second factory then followed a similar path of industrial integration and consolidation.
Let me guess, more buyouts.
More buyouts. It went through Suzuki Shuten, then Tushikiyori, and eventually it fell under the management of Kanegifuchi Boseki.
Kanebo, the huge textile company.
The very same, Kanebo. So both of Gucci's pioneering wool factories ended up being absorbed by major national corporations.
And the physical legacy of this wool empire is still visible today, right? In some very modern places.
The continuity is actually startling when you trace it. That second factory site, the one west of the station, it partially closed down in 1950.
Okay.
But crucially, its office building, which was built in 1939, wasn't demolished. It was sold to the Hankyu department store.
Hankyu. The department store chain.
Yes. And they opened their Oimachi store in that very building in 1953.
No way.
And then, when the rest of the factory fully closed down in 1965, The land it occupied became the literal foundation for what is now the Hankyo Oimachi Garden Complex.
So a major modern shopping and entertainment center stands directly on the footprint, even using a building from Japan's pioneering wool spinning industry.
Directly. The bones of the old industry are right under the modern commerce. It's amazing.
That industrial density must have been incredible. Oimachi basically became the go-to spot for wave after wave of cutting-edge technology back then.
It really did. The wool was just the start.
Let's talk about light, illuminating the nation. Tokyo Denki, which became Toshiba.
Right. This is the story of bringing modern lighting to Japan. Tokyo Denki's roots go back to a company called Hakuretsusha, founded in 1890.
And they were special because
they were the first company in Japan to domestically produce incandescent light bulbs for general households.
So not just industrial use, but for ordinary people's homes.
Exactly. This wasn't a minor niche industry. This was about fundamentally changing daily life, extending the day, transforming how people lived and worked. It was revolutionary.
And that kind of innovation, it must have attracted attention from overseas.
It did, very quickly. General Electric, the American giant, GE, they actually participated in the management of Tokyo Denki starting in 1905, just 15 years after Hakuretsusha was founded.
Wow, that was fast international involvement.
It shows the potential they saw. This partnership led to Tokyo Denki getting licensed production for the internationally famous Mazda lamps starting in 1911.
Okay, and where did they decide to build their big new factory for this expansion in 1911?
Guess where?
Let me guess. Oimachi.
Oimachi. They opened their Oimachi factory that same year, 1911. And where did they lease the land?
Don't tell me.
Part of the original Gucho Kiori wool factory site. The first one, east of the station.
That's incredible synergy. Or maybe just proof that Oimachi was the recognized hotspot for industry by then.
I think it's the latter. It was clearly seen as the center of industrial gravity. If you were building something new and important, Oimachi was the place to be.
And Tokyo Denki, its lineage leads directly to a global name we all know.
It does. In 1939, Tokyo Denki merged with another major electrical company, Shibara Seisakusho.
Right.
And together they formed Tokyo Shibara Denki, which we know today, of course, as Toshiba.
Toshiba, born partly from that Oimachi factory.
Absolutely. And the legacy of their physical presence in Oimachi continued even after the factory itself changed.
How so?
The site later hosted the Toshiba Tokyo Gymnasium from the late 50s, and then in 1964, the Toshiba Central Hospital was built there.
A hospital?
Yes, which eventually became the Toshiba Hospital, and today operates as the Tokyo Shinagawa Hospital.
So that land use evolved again, from making light bulbs to corporate sports to corporate healthcare, and now a more general hospital serving the community.
The factory footprint just keeps transforming, but the location remains significant.
Okay, so we've had textiles, we had light bulbs. The next cornerstone of Oimachi's modern identity has to be movement, right? The railways. It became a massive engine room for Japan's expanding rail network.
Oh, absolutely crucial. The Tetsuro Kyuku Oimachi factory.
What exactly did it do?
Well, think about the sheer scale of building and maintaining Japan's national railway network in the early 20th century. It required enormous dedicated facilities.
Right, you need places to build and fix the trains.
Exactly. This complex was constructed by the National Railway Board, the Tetsujin, starting in the late Meiji era. It officially opened in 1914, Taishu 3.
And it took over from an older facility.
Yes, it took over the crucial functions of the older Shinbashi factory. Its primary dedication was the assembly and, very importantly, the repair and overhaul of rail cars.
So Oimachi wasn't just near the railway line.
No. It was the place where the railway itself, the rolling stock, was literally built, maintained, and kept running. It was fundamental to the whole network's operation.
And unlike some of those other factories that maybe came and went or got absorbed, the sources point out that a piece of the original railway factory structure still survives today.
Yes, which is fantastic. There's a beautiful brick building constructed in 1915, Taishu 4, that remains standing.
What was it originally?
It was originally the Oimachi substation providing power.
And it's still in use?
Amazingly, yes. It's still used today by JR East Transport Service.
Wow.
The fact that it survived and is still part of the operational railway infrastructure over a century later is a remarkable testament to the quality of that early industrial architecture and planning.
What happened to the rest of the factory site over time?
It remained a core railway facility. It was significantly redeveloped in the 1960s, becoming the massive Tokyo General Rolling Stock Center, the Tokyo SCO Shari Center.
So its function as the nerve center for rail maintenance in the Tokyo area never really stopped.
Never stopped, just modernized and expanded.
And looking ahead now, that area is still undergoing huge changes, right?
It is, yeah. JR East Group is currently undertaking another massive redevelopment project right there called the Hiromachi District Development.
Left that evolving.
New commercial facilities, maybe housing, improved connections. It's a huge undertaking, expected to be completed around 2025.
So Oimachi remains perpetually defined, shaped, and reshaped by large-scale railway infrastructure and development. A function it's performed for, 110 years now?
At least it's woven into the fabric of the place.
Okay, beyond the big stuff like textiles and heavy rail, Oimachi also became synonymous with precision manufacturing.
Right, the finer things.
Housing, two of Japan's most important, maybe even iconic high-precision manufacturers. Let's start with pencils.
Mitsubishi Pencil. Yes, it sounds mundane, but it's a great story, especially about corporate identity and branding.
Okay, pellets.
The company itself started way back in 1887 as Masaki Pencil Seisho.
Right.
Now, here's the kicker. They registered their now world-famous three-diamond Mitsubishi logo in 1903, Meiji 36.
Oh.
This is crucial. They registered that brand before the giant Mitsubishi Zaibatsu, the huge industrial and financial conglomerate, formally registered their own very similar three-diamond logo.
Wait, really? The pencil company had the Mitsubishi logo first?
For registered trademark purposes, yes. So, Oimachi housed the original source of the name Mitsubishi as applied to consumer goods like pencils, completely independent initially of the powerful conglomerate that dominates global awareness today.
That's kind of mind-blowing. I always assumed the pencils were just another branch of the big Mitsubishi group.
A common assumption, but nope, they are distinct. And they moved their factory to Oimachi in 1916, Taishu 5.
Let me guess where they got the land.
You got it. They acquired land that was formerly part of the Guchu Kiori textile operation. That land just kept cycling through industry.
It really did.
Yeah.
And Mitsubishi Pencil stayed in Oimachi.
Yes, despite a complicated history, the sources mention corporate splits and reemergers the factory endured. The company officially became Mitsubishi Pencil Co., Ltd. in 1952, and importantly, they moved their corporate headquarters to Oimachi in 1964.
Ah, so it wasn't just a factory town for them, it became their corporate home base too.
Exactly, cementing its status as a core part of Oimachi's precision manufacturing identity.
Okay, from pencils to something maybe a bit more high-tech, certainly image-wise. The ultimate story of industrial pivot. Nikon.
Nikon, yes. Nippon Kogaku Kucho, as it was originally called.
When did they arrive?
They were established in 1917, Taishu 6, and significantly, this venture was financed by the Mitsubishi Zaibatsu, specifically by Iwasaki Koyada.
Ah, so this one had the Zaibatsu backing from the start.
It did, and they built their Oimachi factory extremely quickly. It was completed in 1918.
What was its focus initially? It wasn't cameras yet, right?
No, not cameras for the public. For the next nearly 30 years, its primary, almost exclusive focus was military optics.
Military optics?
Yes. High-precision optical equipment rangefinders, periscopes, sites mainly supplying the Imperial Japanese Navy.
Wow. Including
the incredibly precise systems used on the Navy's ultimate symbols of power, the super battleships Yamato and Musashi.
Hold on. The optics that guided the massive guns on the Yamato and Musashi. They were manufactured right here in Oimachi, a suburb of Tokyo.
Right there. It's staggering to think about, isn't it? The absolute pinnacle of Japanese naval optical engineering during the war was coming out of this factory in Shinagawa.
That positions Oimachi right at the heart of the national military-industrial complex of the time.
It absolutely does. It was a center of extremely advanced critical technology, but then, of course, the war ended.
Right, and Japan's military was dismantled. What happened to the factory?
A massive pivot was necessary for survival. After 1946, the factory had to transition completely away from military production and towards civilian products.
Using the same skills.
Leveraging that incredible expertise in precision optics and mechanics gained during the war years, and this led directly to the release of the camera that changed everything for them.
The Nikon camera.
The Nikon Model 1, released in 1948. It was their first 35mm camera, and it quickly gained a reputation for quality that launched the company onto the global stage. It basically laid the groundwork for the modern camera industry as we know it, challenging the German dominance.
And that revolution started in Oimachi. Did any of the physical structures from that era survive this dramatic change from military tech to consumer cameras?
One very notable building did for a very long time. It was known as Building Number 1, later designated Building 101.
What was special about it?
It was an iconic red brick structure, quite handsome, built in 1933. It survived the war, survived the shift to camera production, and became a symbol of Nikon's Oimachi history.
But it's not there now.
Sadly, no. Despite its history, it was eventually demolished in 2016.
Ah, that's a shame.
It is. However, the site's continuity remains incredibly strong. The brand new Nikon corporate headquarters is currently being constructed on that very spot where Building 101 stood.
Wait, no.
Yes, slated for completion in 2024. And significantly, the new building complex will incorporate the Nikon Museum.
Ah. So they're deliberately acknowledging the history?
Exactly. It's a conscious act of memorializing decades of industrial history, from naval rangefinders to world-famous cameras that happened on that exact footprint in Oimachi.
So Oimachi's modern identity isn't just about, generic high-tech commerce. It's fundamentally shaped by the precise physical locations, the literal ground, where these industrial giants that created modern Japan were born and operated.
That's the core story, I think. The physical layering is undeniable.
Okay, we've traced these huge arcs, ancient imperial roads, massive industrial behemoths. Let's bring it back down to the street level now.
Right.
Let's look at the more localized history, the things that give Oimachi its unique flavor today. Starting with a historical landmark, a slope with a story, and a very persistent local delicacy, Sendaizaka.
Sendaizaka. Sendai Slope. The name itself is a direct link right back to the Edo period.
How so?
It refers to the powerful date clan, the feudal lords, the daimyo of the Sendai domain in northern Japan.
Okay, and they had property here.
He did. This slope, Sendaizaka, was the location of their shimoyashiki, their lower residence in Edo.
Now, the distinction between the shimoyashiki, the lower residence, and the kamiyashiki, the upper one, usually near Edo Castle, that's important for understanding how the feudal system worked in the capital, right?
Absolutely crucial.
Why was the lower residence often located a bit further out, sometimes near the water, like here in Oimachi?
The shimoyashiki served a really vital logistical function for the domain. It wasn't just a secondary house. It was often strategically placed, as you say, perhaps near canals or the bay, specifically to receive cargo. Goods, supplies, and importantly, tax shipments, mostly rice, coming by ship from the clan's home province, Sendai in this case.
Ah, so it was like their domain's supply chain hub and warehouse in the capital.
Exactly, a necessity for managing a large domain and its presence in Edo from afar. The kamiyashiki was for official duties near the shogun's castle. The shimoyashiki was often about logistics and supplies.
And I love this detail from the sources. There's a living witness to that Edo landscape still standing today.
Isn't that amazing? The 300-year-old tabunoki tree.
A tree.
A huge ancient tabunoki or Maclus thunbergi tree. It's designated as a natural monument by Shinagawa Ward.
And it was there when the Sendai residence was there.
Oh yeah, that tree literally watched the Sendai clan's residence stand on that slope. It witnessed the comings and goings of samurai, the unloading of goods, then it saw the Meiji Restoration, the arrival of factories, the modern city growing up around it, and it still stands guard today.
Wow. It allows you, like you said earlier, to visualize the centuries just by looking at that one ancient trunk. A tangible connection.
It really grounds the history.
And the practical history of that clan residence site, it gives us a wonderful culinary continuity, too, something that lasts to this day.
It does. Sendai miso.
Miso, like the soup paste.
Exactly. The tradition of Sendai miso being made right there on Sendaizaka goes back incredibly far. The sources say a miso maker migrated from Sendai itself in 1625 during the Kane era.
1625, that's early Edo period.
Very early. And initially, this high-quality miso, characteristic of the Sendai region, was made exclusively for the date clan's consumption within their residence.
Makes sense. Keep the good stuff for the lords.
Right. But eventually, by the latter half of the Edo period, they started selling it to the general public, too.
And that tradition
of localized, high-quality Sendai miso production, linked to that original site, is preserved and continues in Oimachi today. You can still find places connected to it.
That's fantastic. A taste of feudal history is still available. Now, you mentioned earlier when we were talking about archaeology that the digs near Sendaizaka didn't just find Jomon pottery or Kofun remains.
Right.
They also found evidence of the much more recent 20th century industrial past mixed in.
Yes. Which perfectly reinforces this whole idea of Oimachi as a historical layer cake. The ancient and the modern are physically interwoven, literally in the same soil.
What did they find from the industrial era?
During those same 1980s excavations, alongside the really ancient stuff, they discovered fragments of white refractory rock, Shiro-ringa.
White brick. Why is that significant?
Refractory bricks are heat-resistant bricks used in building furnaces, kilns, things like that. Essential for heavy industry.
Oh.
And finding Shiro-ringa there confirmed that this area, right near the old Sendai residence, wasn't just a place of ancient settlement or feudal estates. It was also a critical production site for industrial materials during the Meiji and Taishu booms.
So a specific company.
Likely connected to Shinagawa Shiro-ringa, which later became the major company Shinagawa Refractories. They were a big producer of these essential industrial bricks.
So, the dig literally connected the ancient Tokaido route, the feudal residence site, and the Meiji industrial boom through material evidence found just feet beneath the surface.
That's Oimachi in a nutshell. Layers upon layers.
So after this incredible journey through time, ancient highways, feudal lords, industrial giants, what does this layered past look like right now in the immediate present?
Well, Oimachi today is defined by, I'd say, three main things. Sheer density, transportation, and commerce.
It feels dense when you're there.
It is dense.
Yeah.
Geographically, it's bordered by crucial transport arteries. The JR Tokaido Main Line is a major boundary, and key streets cut through it.
Like Ikegami-dori, which we mentioned followed a Kamakura road path.
Right, and also Optic Street.
Lopnik Street, seriously.
Seriously, a street name that is a direct, living reference to the historic presence of Nippon Kogoku. Nikon.
That's brilliant. The history's right there in the street names.
Sometimes, yeah. And the Oimachi station area itself functions as the primary commercial center for the whole of Shinagawa Ward.
You can feel that. It's busy.
It's very busy, and that's reflected starkly in things like land prices. Our research noted one commercial spot near the station valued at 926,000 yen per square meter.
Wow. That's high-value, high-traffic real estate.
Definitely. And the residential density matches that commercial intensity.
How many people live there now?
The current population is over 28,000 residents, packed into just 1.09 square kilometers.
That's incredibly dense.
It is. And that density drives the constant, rapid construction you see everywhere, these huge residential and commercial power complexes.
Like a City Tower Oimachi, Brilio Oimachi Levian Tower. Names like that.
Exactly. They're continually reshaping the skyline, adding even more density.
And none of this density, none of this commercial activity could possibly exist without the transportation nexus that holds it all together.
That nexus is absolutely essential. Oimachi Station is a major interchange.
Which lines serve it?
You've got three major train lines converging there. The JR Keihin-Tohoku line, which is a key commuter line, the private Tuki-Umachi line connecting out towards the western suburbs,
right,
and the TWR Winkai line, which provides crucial access down towards Odaiba and the waterfront areas.
Plus buses, I assume.
Oh yeah, extensive bus networks run by the Tokyu Bus Umori Depot. It's extremely well connected. And there's a fascinating piece of more recent infrastructure history here too, related to clearing a bottleneck.
What's that?
The completion of the Kirihara Underground Passage back in 1995.
An underpass. Why was that such a critical moment for Oimachi? Seems like a normal bit of city infrastructure.
But it solved a huge, long-standing urban planning headache. It replaced a notorious level crossing on the main JR Tokaido line, right near the station.
An unopened level crossing. What does that mean?
It means the crossing gates were down so often because of the sheer frequency of trains on that main line that traffic trying to cross was basically at a standstill perpetually. It caused massive congestion, cut the area in two. It was famous for being gridlocked.
Okay, I can picture that. A major artery blocked constantly.
Exactly. So building that Kirihara underpass in 95, finally getting traffic flowing smoothly under the tracks, it dramatically improved movement through Oimachi. It transformed it from a kind of congested, frustrating district into the much more efficient, modern transit hub it is today. It really cemented its current commercial status.
So even relatively recent infrastructure changes play a big role in its current form.
Yeah.
Yet even with all this intense, fast-paced modernity, the high-rises, the efficient transport, the community still manages to hold on to its cultural memory, right?
They do, beautifully. Oimachi isn't just anonymous towers. It preserves its local memory through key institutions, like the Shinagawa History Museum, which is right there, and through dedicated public spaces, like the Morikazuka Ruins Garden, commemorating the shell mound discovery.
Parks that acknowledge the past.
Exactly. And the local culture stays vibrant through its festivals, too.
Oh, yeah. What kind of festivals?
Well, there's the Jintaku Summer Festival in August, which sounds like a big community event. And in October, there's the Kashima Shrine Annual Festival.
No.
And that festival features something really special, a designated cultural asset known as Shi Hayashikata.
Hayashikata. What is that?
It's Oimachi's own traditional festival music, passed down through generations. Flutes, drums, chanting, the specific sound of Oimachi's heritage.
So the echoes of the past are literally audible in the modern streets during festival time.
You could say that, yeah. It's a community that lives alongside its deep history.
So let's try and wrap this up. We started our journey today on a 7th century, 12-meter wide imperial highway.
Designed for bureaucratic efficiency, yeah.
We watched as that same piece of land hosted the birth and sometimes the death or transformation of huge industrial giants. Wool, railways, light bulbs, optics, pencils.
The whole gamut of modernization.
And we ended up in this super dense, skyscraper-filled commercial center where somehow a 300-year-old tree still stands sentinel over a slope named after a feudal lord.
It's quite the arc, and the history of Oimachi really is a stunning demonstration of, well, urban persistence, but also the power of strategic location. The fact that this same small area has been a critical node for the state or the economy in so many different eras.
Right.
First for the centralized imperial state with its highway, then for the militaristic medieval center with the Kamakura roads, and finally for the factory-driven modern industrial economy.
Yeah.
It shows that certain geographical spots, maybe because of topography or access, just maintain this enduring relevance across centuries. The function changes, but the importance of the location persists.
And the different eras didn't really erase the past, did they?
Not usually. They just buried it, built anew right on top, often using the same footprint, the same valuable land.
So it teaches us, maybe, that when you walk down a busy Tokyo street, you're almost never walking on a blank slate.
Definitely not.
You're walking on this multi-layered historical sponge where pretty much every major epoch of Japanese history might be concentrated right under your feet.
Precisely. It's all down there. So maybe a provocative final thought for you, our listeners. Next time you find yourself walking down a busy urban street in Tokyo, especially maybe in that grid pattern near Oimachi Station, challenge yourself with this thought.
Yeah.
Could you be walking on the exact path, maybe even the exact center line, of a massive 12-meter wide, dead straight national highway that was built by imperial decree over 1,300 years ago? And what other secrets, whether they're Jinmon relics from thousands of years ago, an ancient well that spawned a legend, or the buried foundations of Japan's very first private wool factory? What else is buried just a few feet beneath your shoes, waiting for the next deep dive or the next construction project to uncover them?
That is a truly profound thought to have while navigating a bustling commercial district. Makes you see the city differently.
Hopefully.
Thank you for diving deep with us into the many layers of Oimachi.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.